Hello, everybody. God, am I still too fucking loud? No, I think I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. What's up? I broke my promise again, didn't I? I've been trying to be more consistent, but it's tough. Because I'm busy. There ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I get no rest. No rest. It's not like I'm sitting around, on my fucking ass all day. Sometimes. I'm just kidding. No, man. Life's been real nuts lately. Real nuts. Day in the life is waking up at 5 and then going to the gym, trying to shoot some fitness content every day, which we've been doing. Which you should go, if you haven't looked at, go look at that. Kairos __ fitness. Kairos _ 2 underscores fitness. You spell Kairos Kairos. It's a Greek word which means awakening. Paul used it in the New Testament. And that's what we called it. Now, we would do 1 underscore. I tried that, but some fuck used it. And I haven't gone and looked at, what he's up to. But, we're cranking it out. It's me and Clay putting together some fitness content, some motivational content, some inspirational content. And we look like douchebags. Fully aware of that. And that's all right with me. I'm okay with that. Because if your actions fit in with everybody else, they're not extraordinary. They're not extraordinary. So, we do look like douchebags, but we're trying to do good things. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always loved fitness. I've been getting in. This is actually interesting. I've accidentally become ripped, to a level that I don't think I've been in before. I'm in the best shape of my life. And right now, I've got so many other things going on that it wasn't even a priority. It's like I just accidentally, when you trip and fall, just accidentally, I tripped and fell and then got an 8-pack. I don't know how it happened. It's like when you accidentally bump into a door, you hit your shoulder on a door because you're rushing too much, or the dog got out, or Palestine's attacking, or whatever it may be. I bumped my shoulder into a door, and now I have striations in my delts and this little vein poking out saying "Aya." I don't know what's going on. I've been doing sprints lately, literally just because I'm bored. I went to Crunch, the goated gym, best gym there is, bar none. Fuck LA Fitness, fuck One Life, fuck anything else. Crunch is the best gym to go to by far. Best staff, best amenities, best culture, best equipment, checks boxes. Okay? So they have this turf platform, right? And it's about, I think it's 25 yards, maybe 20, maybe 30. But so I did sprints yesterday with kettlebells. I did 35-pound kettlebells, each hand, and was cooking, dude. Cooking. I was cooking. And I did 10 of those, 30-second breaks. And then I did 3 with 45 pounds with 30-second breaks. It's good. Try it. It works. Then I did like a little jump roping. And man, that shit'll get you right. Because I ain't been eating well. I have not been eating well at fucking all. Like, I have been eating. So Tuesday, I have the same breakfast every day now. Because, like, I have to go to the gym and then immediately go to work and just shower at the gym. And so what I do is I get a tub of Greek yogurt from Target. You know, those liberal fucks. And I go get a Greek yogurt, vanilla, sometimes vanilla honey bean, but only if I'm feeling, like, real girly. And I'll go buy that. And then I'll put Cinnamon Toast Crunch in it. And oh my God. Out of the fucking world how good it is. It's like a dessert, but it's like got a lot of protein in it. It's good. Now the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is probably not, let's be honest, it's probably not great. But it tastes good. It does taste good. So I eat that. That's like a shit ton of calories and protein. And then I'm good for like the day. Lunch will be like 5 cups of coffee and a couple cigarettes probably. And then Tuesday night I have Bible study and they have pizza there. And I didn't, when I saw the pizza, I couldn't control myself. And so I ended up having like probably 5 slices, which there were only like 2 pizzas, but I had 5 slices. So I had, you know, the brunt of the servings, but I needed it. I needed it. I needed the carbs. But not healthy exactly. But still, I accidentally am getting I don't know what it is. It's either the sprints or it's Lord. It could be the Lord. Just saying here. And I don't even want it right now. It's crazy. Like, I've cared more about my fitness in the past and gotten like half the results. And now that like I don't really care, it's like insane. I just like, I don't know. So maybe that's the tip. Like, fuck protein shakes, fuck periodic training intervals, fuck CrossFit, you know, fuck hypertrophy, you know, whatever. Just literally 1, take tips from me. 1, don't care. 2, eat like shit. 3, do sprints. Carry the boats. And then 4, a lot of cigarettes and coffee. I'm telling you, it'll work. It'll work. As long as you just consistently do it. A lot of people, like, the problem is that a lot of people want like a fucking shortcut. You know, like the whole American culture, especially American fitness, is like shortcut. What's the shortcut? Is it keto? Is it protein shakes? Is it periodic training? Is it CrossFit? Is it, German volume training? Is it, do I need to wear a leg sleeve on my left leg on leg day? No. The key is just consistency, which people are bad at. People are like, I get busy. I don't know. I got busy. I got a new job, and, you know, I don't want to wake up that early. Here's a good quote. This is from the Fitnessgram. Okay? If you want to do what others can't, you have to be willing to do. Fuck, I fucked it up. You have to be willing to do what others won't. Mic drop. So, okay, you got a new job. It's early. It's at 9. Dude, fuck it. Wake up at 5. If you're waking up at 8, everybody's waking up at 8. Wake up at 5. But people want, shortcuts. How to get jacked in 60 days. Or not even that, fucking 5 days. Americans are like, how do I look like Schwarzenegger in 3 days? And currently I'm 5'3" and 280. And it's just not realistic. One, it's not realistic. Two, it's stupid. Because then if you could do that, there'd be no value in it. That's like an economic principle. If everybody could have $1 million right now, $1 million wouldn't be worth anything, would it? That's inflation. That was very prophetically prevalent. Claps to me. But so yeah, just consistency, and then don't even worry about intensity, because the intensity will come. Eventually, if you're just going every day and you're starting at let's say out of a scale of 10, you're at a 2 intensity. If you're doing that every day, eventually you're gonna get bored, and then you're gonna go to a 3 intensity, and you go to a 4, and then you'll go to a 15 like me. And just accidentally get a fucking 8-pack. Amazing. But yeah, so fitness has been fun. Go follow the page. Go like all the shit. Watch it in the morning. And then just go ham. Dude, because that's what we're doing. We're going ham. We're going ham, bro. All the time. The main thing I've been focused on lately is the Lord Almighty, if I'll be honest with you. And this is a Christian podcast. You don't have to be Christian to listen to this podcast, even though nobody listens to this podcast. But get right with the Lord. Something I learned this week. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. I was talking about this to one of my friends. And I asked him if he knew what yoke meant. And he said, egg yolk? And I said, no. No, not the egg yolk, Brian. But the verse is Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest in your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So for anybody who thinks that yoke is the egg yolk, it's actually in this context the beam that gets strapped to a bull or an ox that carries, a plow or heavy materials or whatever the fuck it may be, a heavy load, right? They call them beast of burden because of that. They're taking the burden. It's like anything like a donkey or an ox or whatever. Anyway. So that imagery connotates, a heavy weight. And so what does that mean for us? Why is this, a parable? Well, we carry a lot of burdens, worry, anxiety, guilt, depression, regret, sadness, I don't know. Is there anything else? Addiction, And so now Jesus is saying that burden that you carry, I can make it easier and lighter. My burden is light. My yoke is easy. So it's like if you imagine this, right? Like you are this tiny little ox, okay? and you're carrying this big ass yoke, huge, and you're barely trudging along. Maybe you're not at all. Maybe you're just standing still, but you're trying. And it's just like you're barely trudging along, and it's so hard because the yoke's so heavy, and you're just barely moving. And then right beside you is this huge ox, and that's Jesus. And he's just walking right beside you with no yoke, and he's just like, I can help you. I can help this little thing. But he just won't let me. He won't invite me into his life. I can't help until you let me. It's either out of spite. Some people hate God. You'd actually be surprised how many people just hate God and not believe in him, but just hate him. So it's either out of spite or it's just out of ignorance. For me, it was out of ignorance. I didn't believe that. I thought I could handle all my problems. And this is a problem of like the masculinity hype culture we have now, right? Is that your yoke, the heavier it is, gives you more pride that you made it through that. Your scars are your trophies in a way. That comes from like Andrew Tate and fucking David Goggins, Jocko Willink, all that shit. And like, it's good to go through hard shit, and you should be confident in your abilities to handle tribulation. But make no mistake, you're not the one carrying it. One, if it's easy, but two, you could make it a lot easier and have a lot more peace if you did. And three, the yoke can always get too heavy. It can always get too heavy, bro. You can't think like David Goggins' advice of like running 100 miles until you're shitting blood can only get you so far. But then when you go through something like, okay, so let's say you get bullied at school. Running 100 miles can probably help you carry that burden. Thank you, David. But if you lose, your mom, or you're like borderline suicidal, or you are suicidal, or you lost your job and now you have nothing. Running 100 miles ain't gonna help none of that. I guarantee you. Because if you lost your job and you run 100 miles, you're going to be running 100 miles and then taking a shower nowhere because you're homeless. And still be sad. But when you have the Lord, you can now shoulder that, or you just give that burden away, pretty much. Or you shoulder it with Jesus, and he helps you through. Helps you through. So that's my bit of advice today. All of your burdens, all your worries, all your fears, all your anxieties, all your sadness, it's not yours. Give it back. It's not yours. Give it back. Return it. Return to sender. Address unknown. No such number. No such zone. We had a quarrel. A lover's spat. All right. Oh, dude. Oh my God, dude. I have to tell about one of the funniest things that I've seen in a long time. In a very inappropriate place. A place where I wouldn't expect to find something so funny, but it was just like perfect. So I go to church on Sunday. We go to a small little Baptist church because I'm very traditional. And there's not like a ton of people there. It's a great church, great pastor, great people. Small enough congregation, but big enough congregation where it's like that sweet spot. And worship, I've never been a worship guy, but I've been trying to, because like it's in the Bible, it's important, and like I know a lot of people that do get stuff from it, so I'm like, maybe my attitude's wrong, so whatever. So I've been trying to get better with it and like buy in. And so anyway, they start playing. They go through the first song, it was good. They go through the second song, and it was good too. But it's like this upbeat song. It's like, it wasn't actually that, but it was like something like that. Yankee Doodle went to town. But so it was like an upbeat song, right? And so these two ladies, about 30 seconds in, just start clapping. And dude, nobody else starts clapping. And I'm sitting there, standing up with my head down, and I can't stop laughing. I can't stop laughing because I feel bad for them, but I also don't, right? So I feel bad for them because that sucks, dude. That sucks to be the one to start the clap, and then that's it. That's nobody else joins, because usually, people will join just because it's not a lot of effort. You're just clapping, whatever. The song calls for it maybe, and so you just clap along. It's not a big deal. Normally, most people would do it, but everybody else was in defiance for some reason, including me. Because I'm not gonna join now. I'm not gonna be the third person in this outcast group to start clapping. Then I get lumped in with the consequences. And so when you start, like there's always that moment at a party or at like a event, like a game or, some shit where like so let's say, you hear a song like that, people just start clapping, like at a concert. Usually everybody will join in, okay? Or like at like a party, if you're in a dance circle and then one guy goes in and you start going, hey, hey, hey. Your hope is for everybody else to do it. Because if they don't, one of two things. If they don't, only one of two things can happen. You either look like an idiot and you just keep clapping and you just say, fuck it, I'm just going to keep sending it. Like I don't care if nobody joins in. We all know you do, but you just keep sending it, right? And then the other option is to puss out and just stop. And then everybody's like, damn, they got too scared. Either way, you are down bad, dude. Down bad. And it's so funny because it's like, it's one of those things where you don't really think of like the consequences of what happens if it could go wrong. You just are kind of like in the moment and you're like, what if I did this? And everybody just starts getting along. Oh, I'm going to do it. But if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And so when you're thinking about doing it, you don't think about how it goes wrong. You don't think of the possibility that, they might not clap with you. And so now you've just got to be the lone wolf just sending it and look like an idiot. Or how you just have to bail the fuck out and just stop. Right? And so it's kind of like sex, like, or an abortion. Like if you knew that you could get, or if the possibility of the negative consequence of getting pregnant was real to you as a real outcome, you probably wouldn't be having sex, right? Or the possibility of having to get an abortion was real to you, you probably wouldn't be having sex. But nobody thinks about that. Now, hey, I'm pro-choice. I'm not. But nobody thinks of the consequences, right? You just kind of like, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. And so these ladies went with the former, or the latter. My mistake. It's the latter. They went with the first one. They just kept doing it the whole song. And that made me laugh even more. Because I'm like, damn, that sucks. Dude. Like, that sucks. That sucks so bad that you have to, like, now just look like an idiot in the church. And you can't stop, especially in church, because it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like maybe like an understood thing that, like, God's, like, you know, working through you. Not like speaking in tongues, but like, you know, he's like, you're getting in the moment for God. So then if you get out of that, then you're like defying God. And then everybody knows that the whole jig was just about you being cool and being in the moment. So you can't stop. You have to just keep going. But you look even worse too, because now you're like definitely stealing the attention. So even like in church, it's the worst to do it. And these two ladies did not realize it. And I look over and two minutes into the song. 2 minutes into the song, just over there, like, and I could see in their eyes the pain. You know, they were putting a smile on their face, but I could see the pain of what they were going through, and I felt bad. But again, I'm not going to now lump myself in with you guys. Like, this is bad. I'm not gonna do that. You know? I was being a sweet boy minding my own business, you know, with my head down, trying to pray and buy into worship. And, you know, I certainly won't start clapping, you know? So, you know, but then what makes it even better is what happened next, okay? It gets even better. So, it's bad. It's baptism day, right? So, a bunch of these kids are getting baptized, which is a beautiful thing. You know, they're getting saved. They're dedicating their lives to Jesus. All that stuff. And it's their day, okay? Like, this is their day. It's not the pastor's day. It's not the church's day. You know, this is their day. They made a big decision. It should be honored as such, right? God, I'm going to spit so much. So the focus is on them, okay? And then in the middle of the second kid that was up, when they're giving the speech, like, this is little Johnny. Johnny's been here since he was, you know, 2 years old. He's now giving his life to Jesus. In the middle of it, this guy just full sends one of these dad sneezes. Like, you know how dad sneeze, where it's just too much? Like, my dad will, like, and I'm not going to do it because it's too loud, but he'll go like, ah! And it's just, like, so loud. It scares you every time. And you know it's fake because, like, a normal human will sneeze. Really, most humans will sneeze like you know, real, like, or something like that. Something mild, right? So, to have a normal human bodily function and it make that standard noise, there's just no way that it's real that you have to, you know, do an exorcism every time you sneeze, you know? It's not real. I know it's fake. It's like, you know, most people fart within a given range of, like, you know, to... It's like if somebody farted and it sounded like Hiroshima. Like, you'd be like, that's fake. Right? So anyway, in the middle... guy, he just full sends this sneeze, like louder than my dad, louder than anything I've ever heard. Like, it was a long one too. He was like, ah! Much louder than that. And then, like, the pastor, like, he looks over, and he just keeps going. Because this guy sucks. He's trying to be an attention whore again. I don't know why everybody wanted attention this day. Maybe he was just doing it out of habit. You know, but personally, I know I have a habit to say, like, all right. You know, like when somebody like says something that I agree with. But I curbed that habit. Oh, here's an even better one. I have the habit of smoking cigarettes. But I'm not lighting it up in the church. Especially during baptism day. That'd be real no good. So, but this guy is just like, you know, it's my habit. I'm sticking with it. I am committing to this obscene sneeze that sounds like I got stabbed in my urethra. I'm committing to this. And I'm going to send it. And I don't care that it's baptism day. I don't care that these little kids are giving their lives to Jesus. It's go time for me. And I'm going to go. And it was just great. It was just great. I've never had like two stacked on each other. Because these were in like 15 minutes of each other. You know, it was crazy. It was great. I loved it. One of my favorite services ever. Because I wasn't able to stop laughing. So, that was my Sunday. A good day. And then I went shooting later. It's a real American day. Dude, it was even more American because I went to a Baptist church, a small Baptist church in the suburbs, and then I went to Cracker Barrel, and then I smoked a cigarette, and then I went to go shooting. Guns. And it was fucking awesome, man. It was awesome. I shot my Ruger MPR, which is an 18-inch barrel AR, ventilated. It is so sexy. And then I shot my 30-30 Marlin, which I posted on the gram because it was so badass. It's a lever action. And 30-30, if you don't know what that is, it's a slug. So I was just pumping them, and then I felt like I was Rip from Yellowstone, just like badass. So a good American day. Real good American day. But yeah, that's been my life lately. Something I did want to talk about was I haven't been following politics at all because, again, I'm so busy. And so I have no real idea about what's going on with the whole Palestine and Ukraine, or Palestine and Ukraine. Unintentionally the funniest thing I've said this whole podcast. I meant Palestine and Israel. They have beef with Hamas or whatever it's called, and Hezbollah. I didn't know he was getting active. I guess he got angry after Tyson treated him like a baby. I don't really know the specifics of what's going on. I just know that it's a little weird. It's a little weird how a bunch of underfunded, undergunned, undermanned fighting forces have been able to infiltrate and infiltrate and evade the most sophisticated defense force in the world, like the Iron Dome. It almost sounds like it's an accident. It's like with 9/11, how the most sophisticated country in the world with the best fighting force to ever exist, therefore the best national defense to ever exist, got attacked more proficiently than it did since Pearl Harbor by a group of ragtag bandit terrorists. It's almost like that shouldn't have happened. Now it did. Why? And we can get to that later. But right now, I want to talk about Palestine and Ukraine. I said it, dude, Palestine and Israel. Palestine and Ukraine. That would be funny. That would be really funny if that ended up happening somehow. But you know, it's interesting because like I'm an anti-war guy. Okay, I don't like war. I hate war. I don't want war. No matter what it takes, I don't want war. I think it should be avoided at all costs. And I think it's fairly important and indicative of the intent behind it to look at who's telling us to go to war. It's not the people fighting. That's what Fortunate Son was all about. By Creedence Clearwater Resolution or whatever. I don't think it's right, but you know, like the song. Some folks born made a red flag. That was good. But you know, like it's about how rich people and their children don't have to go to the war, but it's all the poor people, and that's true. And so all the people who are agging on this war are the people who aren't even fighting in it, you know? Which is real, like, you know, it's kind of like, it's kind of like if, it's kind of like if, you know, a Satanist was telling you that you should get baptized. And then he sneezed. That came together full circle. Huh? But no, it's like it's crazy to me because like I don't know how it became such a controversial take and like a hateful take to say we just, you know, should probably try to avoid war. And we, as the U.S., we should probably have tried to avoid getting into wars. But I was talking with one of my friends about this recently, fairly recently. It was like a month ago. And I was explaining to him how we should have been out of Iraq and Afghanistan years ago. And we never should have gone. And how we can't go back. And mainly how if you're not anti-war, you are pro-war. There is no in-between. There's no in-between. Because guess what? There'll always, and you know, like I'll say this and he'll be like, yeah, but this one's different. There always will be an excuse and some moral, you know, propagandized incentive to go into a war. And it can be fairly sophisticated. And it can be fairly voracious. But still, it is an excuse to go to something bad, which is war, right? So he was telling me, well, here's the reason why we went over there. To bring democracy and because we made promises and, you know, because of this. Here's the reason why we're in Ukraine, because, you know, Putin's a dictator, because Putin's authoritarian, and because of democracy. It's funny how it's always about democracy, you know? It's like they don't have democracy. We need to go give them democracy. And it's like we're putting a gun in their mouth, we're like, you fucking take this democracy. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy how what's the word, oxymoronic it is. You know, like forced democracy. Forced democracy is like libertarian communism, or like no, like a libertarian totalitarian state. It's like it just doesn't. That's not how it's supposed to go. But so I was talking to him about this, and he was like, yeah, but. And I'm like, how many times are you going to say but? Because, history repeats itself, right? And so we look back at Vietnam, and we look back at Korea, and, we look back at the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. And pretty much universally, especially with the first two, we see them as a mistake. We're like, what the fuck were they thinking? But then we're getting in the same wars that are like likened in every single perspective. And we're just like, yeah, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. I don't know. And, but it's a problem with how people view history, right? Like it's the problem with how people view the villains of history. People view the villains of history and then instantly take the prejudiced, preconceived notion that we're different from them. Yeah, but America's different. Yeah, but Biden's different. Yeah, but Trump's different. And you don't, if you stopped for a second and you instead looked at how similar we were, I'm just saying, it'd be a lot better. It'd be a lot better. But, we're doomed to repeat ourselves because we are cattle. Right? So, with this Israel-Ukraine, or what the fuck? Why am I still thinking about Ukraine? It's not even popular anymore. It's not even trending anymore. All the bitches that put it in their bios and on Instagram have taken it down. It's not popular anymore. I don't know why I'm thinking about it. But the Israel-Palestine thing, I have this controversial take of like, hey, how about we, one, don't get involved with the war that we shouldn't be involved in. And then number two, how about we reach some sort of peaceful resolution that doesn't involve going to war and killing a lot of innocent people in the quickest way possible? Because war, no good. And then when you say that to someone who's pro-Palestinian, they go like this. They go, but the Palestinians deserve it. They deserve it. And then when you say the same thing to someone who's, pro-Israel in this war, they'll be like, yeah, but the Jews deserve that. Like Ben Shapiro. And, I don't know how, because when you say that, they're treating you like you're an animal-ravaged beast. Like you're the immoral savage. So it's funny how you're the immoral savage for being against literal savagery, which is war, right? It's an oxymoron. So, this is why I emphasize principles so much, and why you have to just have some things that you stick to and you don't veer away from. And one of those for me is, no war. I don't want war. I don't want it. War. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. That's a song. I imagine it's called War. What is it good for? Or maybe just War. I don't know. But it's a good song. Good point, too. Hold on. There's a bug on the camera. Fucking bugs. And no, I'm not talking about Palestine. Chill. But yeah, you have to have principles. You have to have principles that you don't veer away from. And one of those principles that I have is freedom, right? Because we all love to act like we love freedom in America. We do not love freedom in America. We do not. Because freedom ultimately means the sacrifice of security, right? This is the promise of authoritarianism, okay? Because people are like, well, how could they let a dictator? How could they let Hitler? How could they let Stalin? How could they let Julius? How could they let this happen? How would the people okay with that? Exactly how you're okay with it. Because they said, yeah, we have this whole freedom thing, but I'm scared. And, we have this whole freedom thing, but, then I have to really fight for what I get. And I have to hunt or eat what I kill. And that's not a mindset that many people actually take. It's a mindset many people think they take. Many people think that they'd take the pitchforks up and go to the Capitol. But we did, and look what happened. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that many people don't like freedom as much as they say they do. Because, freedom isn't inherently good. It's pragmatic, but it isn't inherently good. And, that's because freedom is the freedom to do good, and it's the freedom to do bad. Right? It's the freedom to, obviously, you have to have some laws and regulations, but at a maximum, it's the freedom to kill somebody and steal their property. It's the freedom to steal their money. It's the freedom to act in any sort of malicious behavior. It is. But there's that quote that I love. I love the quote. It's Benjamin Franklin. And he says, any society or any civilization, any civilization that sacrifices its freedom for security will end up with neither. So it's freedom can be rough. Freedom can be, at times, not benevolent. However, the transition to the fruits of authoritarianism, which is no freedom and maximum security and provisions, will always lead into a violent, criminal, totalitarian state. And that's my commercial. Because, it's what we do with America, and it's the problem with liberalism and progressivism is you're trusting the government to do good. I get it. There might be some good people in there right now. And so you're going to surrender all these civil rights you have, right to bear arms, right to free speech, right to your body, right to private property. You're going to surrender all these things because you think they're better in the hands of the government and they're better protected by the hands of the government. But what happens when the government's not good? What happens when it's a bad boy? Especially in this, so-called democracy where people rotate often You might have a really great congressman that you trust to take over your private property and you trust to take away your guns so that you're safer on the street. But then what happens when it's a bad boy congressman? What happens when it's, what happens when your congressman is Harvey Dent? You're fucked. You're fucked. You can't do that. So, it's like that great quote from Thomas Sowell. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. Think of the world as transactional. And there is never gonna be you just get the best thing for free. There will always be a price for it. And if it's the best thing, it's gonna be the highest price. If it's the worst thing, it's gonna be the lowest price. Right? And this is why, people tell you to do hard shit, because you reap better fruits. It's just a law, it's the fundamental tenet of economics is transactions and trade-offs. You can never, the only thing that you can get that's the best for no money is the lottery, which one person wins a year and then goes bankrupt after 30 days because they just it's some guy named Frankel who lives in a mobile home park, not because it's cute and trendy, but because he was born there because his brother and his father had a kid with his sister. And that's all he could go to. And so he got some job as some dangerous, chemical plant worker. And his life expectancy isn't long because, number one, he's inbred. But number two, he's working at a dangerous chemical plant. But, they'll take anybody they can get because they have to, because the risk is very high to die. And so he lives a pretty sad life. And he knows he's going to die probably, even though he's inbred, which most inbred people usually have a mental disease. But he apparently doesn't. He's actually cognitively functional. So he says, I don't have long. I know that. I'm just going to buy lottery tickets every day for 4 years. And then one day on the third year, on the 36th day of the year, pretty early in the year, I mean, that's only February, he ends up winning the lottery. And boy, is Frankel happy. So he takes that money and he says, yeah, this is a lot of money. I could do a lot of smart things with this. I could buy an apartment complex and get passive income. I could, buy a nice-ish house and then buy other rental properties. I could start a business. I could put that money into an investment fund. But instead, Frankel says, I'm inbred. I'm inbred, and I work at I've worked at, because hopefully he's not still working there. He might, just because he likes the simple life, and he's gotten used to it. He's made a lot of friends, but he probably doesn't, just because now he doesn't have to. And so he ends up saying, I'm not going to live long because of those two things, chemicals and inbreeding. And so now I'm just going to blow it on hookers and blow. And then they go bankrupt. Guarantee you that's happened a multitude of times. But that's the only thing that you can get with no real sacrifice, no price, right? And when you think of things through that sort of, economic lens, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. You don't want to work out, and working out's hard, and getting in the same accidental shape that I'm in is hard. So the price you have to pay is higher, which means more than what most would pay, right? And people don't realize that. They're always just like, well, how do I get the most without doing anything? You can't. At least not for long. Not for long. So yeah, I don't know if we're kind of running out of time. I don't know if we really solved the whole Israel-Palestine thing, but I have a hunch that it's probably just not a good idea for either side to go to war. I have that hunch. And I had the same hunch with Ukraine and Russia. I got it right that time. Isn't that crazy? I think Russia should win. I think Russia should take over Ukraine. Well, I think that Ukraine should be its own sovereign state. In fact, I think Ukraine should take over Russia. And then there's me, and I say, well, how many people do you think are going to die to get there? I don't know. Does it matter? I thought maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe I'm just a pussy because I don't love war. That could be it. But yeah, we're probably going to check out here. Hopefully I can record again soon. But I need some support. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm doing comedy again, so this helps. Support it. I'm doing comedy. Let me tell you a joke real quick. What do you call a special ed math class? I'll wait. Limited edition. There you go. That's pretty funny, right? So, bright future ad. So yeah, support this show anywhere you want to listen to anything except for Rumble. I'm getting there. I'll get to Rumble. I love you, Rumble. As Jesse Lee Peterson says, you gotta know how to rumble. But it's gonna go on YouTube. The last one didn't go up because I'm busy. I had it posted. It was posting, and then it wasn't fully uploaded yet. And then I had to go to work, so I put my computer in the car, and then it disconnected and it never did. It just said done. Done. So, but I'll post this one on YouTube, promise, and the other one probably. Go to the fitness page, Kairos __ to them, fitness. Okay, Kairos is spelled KAIROS. If you're ever feeling down, if you're ever feeling doubtful, if you're ever feeling unmotivated, check it. You'll get going. It'll be great. Isaiah 6:8. And the Lord said, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, here am I. Send me. That's all, folks.